Alright guys, welcome to a solo lane tier list. This is literally the first time I've ever done a tier list on my own accord, so yeah, let's get into it. This is gonna be for 10.5 balance, a bonus balance. So this is right before Masters. I'll also do another one for the next season, but this is for this current season for the next few weeks of ranked. So you guys can, figure out what's good. I'm probably only gonna do a solo lane tier list, so this is just gonna be for solo lane, and maybe at some point I'll do like different roles based off like what I think is good and like in ranked and stuff like that. And we're doing this on stream. So first things first, Achilles. Achilles, in my opinion, has always been a pretty solid god. I'll put him in A tier. I think he's always been a solid god. I think he's never been like super bad. I think he's never been like super great. Also, I feel like this is kind of weird. I feel like A tier is like decent characters, but like okay, hold on. I think we need to change this because why is A tier second fucking place, dude? S tier should be like broken characters. A tier should be like this should be like pretty solid characters. You know what I mean? So okay, I'm getting rid of F tier. Okay, this is actually gonna be F because F sounds better, and we're gonna make an S minus. I wrote below. We're gonna make an S minus because this does not make sense. S minus. Okay, so that's S minus. So this is a lot better. So Achilles, I think, has always been a solid god. You can like he works in most metas. I think he's just pretty solid. All around decent. He's like okay in lane. The wave isn't great, but he's okay in lane. He's pretty good late game. So yeah, Achilles is solid. Next up we have Ama. So Ama at Worlds, in my opinion, season 9 Worlds was the best god in the entire game. If you picked her, you have a 99.9999% chance to win the game. Not actually, but it was a really high chance of winning the game with Ama at Worlds. Because of how fast she rotated. You couldn't punish her early game. Her objective is insane. This was not the case in ranked, but this is for SP at the time. But I think she's fallen off really hard despite being buffed. Purely because her build is not as good as before, and the game is played a lot differently. There's not as many things to farm in the jungle as there was in season 9. You could farm. You go into the jungle, you farm totem, you farm like some back camps, scorpions, stuff like that. So there's less things to farm, but I think Alma still is like solid. So I'll put her in B tier. I don't think she's as good as Achilles. I'd say she needs like some meta changes, some buffs to be better. So I'll put her in B tier. But she's solid. Anubis, I mean, I was playing him for a while, but I don't think he's good anymore. I'm not even gonna put him on here. Ao Kuang, I don't know. I'm not gonna put him on here. Afro's been played a lot as a tank. I'll put her in D tier because I think she was completely broken as support, but she got nerfed a lot. Now I think Afro can be played in solo lane. You can build tank and keep someone alive, but you're not going to be very effective because you're going to be in solo lane for a majority of the early to mid game, like the entirety of early to mid game, and then late game maybe grouping. But in support, you can utilize her supportive capabilities the entire game. Solo lane you can only do it late game, so I'll put her in D tier. I don't think she's that great, but she's playable though. Ardio, fucking hate Ardio, but I think Ardio is pretty solid for the most part. Throughout the years, you can always pick her if you're cringe and you want to cripple some people. So I'll put her in B tier. I think Ardio is solid. I think it's not her meta, but I think it easily could be. I think of it like at some point through every year she becomes meta. So at some point we put her in S tier or S minus, but for now we'll put her in B tier. I think she's solid. But I think if you want like this, I think this list is gonna be not for SPL, but it'll have some SPL insight and but this is mainly for ranked and like what I think of like reality, like what I think of like the game as a whole. But in SPL it's gonna be a little bit different, but I think for ranked and the role in general, I think this is what this list is gonna be for. So I'll put already on B tier. Next, Athena. I think she can be played. I've always been a fan of Athena in jungle and solo and support. I fucking love Athena. I'll put her in D tier for right now. I think if her items were better, like if Book of Thoth was better, she'd be probably a little bit better. I think she had Book of the Dead as well. Like last year was pretty good, but right now with like Mirrodin, Deso, pretty good. It's that you're kind of missing like one really good damage item. You can go like you can rush flat pen, but it feels pretty weird on her. Like in the past, you could go Athena solo and rush Book of Thoth, and that was your main damage item. And then you go like supplementary damage items. So like you go flat pen like Deso, you go Mirrodin, you go Poly. Those are like core items on her. And then you can go like a Mantle or a Book of the Dead or something. And then like Tainted as well. But now it's like you go Tainted and then what? Like what do you start? Like there's not much to start. I've been trying Warlocks on her, but Warlocks takes a long time to stack. So it's just not gonna feel that great. But I think maybe you could go Warlocks as you get a lot of power, a lot of pen. Otherwise, maybe like do Armor to Hoodie. But those items are so expensive. See that's like the problem. There's no high magical power or like item to carry you to the early to mid game as Athena. So D tier. And you can kill tank on her, but I think it's not as effective in solo lane as going full damage. Not gonna put Atlas. Bakasura, I've been playing a lot of Baka. He's really good in ranked. But you know, I think he's good in ranked. As a whole, he's not like that OP in solo lane. I think he can be really good though, because he's kind of hard to punish. Actually, in the past, he's really easy to punish, but right now, he's actually it's hard to bully him because his heal is such a low cooldown, and especially if you go like Sigil and Golden Blade, he can be actually extremely good. But I'm not a fan of Sigil that much because I prefer having more damage and more attack speed, so I go Eye of the Jungle. So a good build for him is like Eye of the Jungle, Golden Blade, Hasten Katana, in my opinion. I used to not like it, but I like it a lot now. And then like Bloodforge, and then you can go defense, or you can go crit, so like Boomerang, Deathbringer, or you can go maybe some more pen. But I think probably like something like a Boomerang, Deathbringer, or like maybe like an Atalanta's Bow or something, or a Silver Branch, or Berserker Shield. Maybe Berserker Shield into Mantle is good too. Pretty solid. If Baku's in top tier, I'm boycotting Slot. What's up, Big Boy? How you doing? And for those of you who are watching on Twitter or on YouTube, I'm also live streaming this. So that's why you'll see the chat in the bottom left. All right, we got Baron. Baron's over the years, he's been a decent solo laner. I'm not too fond of Baron personally, but I'll put him around D tier. He's not as meta right now. I mean, in solo lane, I mean, he doesn't really do anything particularly great. Like, I'm like, what am I gonna pick him for? Like, you know, there's not really a great reason to pick Baron unless you're gonna counter a specific god. But that's pretty niche. So I'll put him in D tier. And for the record, I think he's probably worse than Afro, but I'll put both of them in D tier for now. Who got next? Bastet. Honestly, Bastet's been nerfed so hard. Put her in F tier. She used to be completely broken in solo lane. Extremely good. Extremely frustrating. She's not very good anymore though. Bellona. I actually think Bellona is pretty solid. Honestly, I'll put her in A tier. I think she actually has some potential to be sort of like a Vamana type of character. So if Vamana gets nerfed again, I'm not sure how good he's gonna be, but if he gets nerfed, the next season's kind of, we're not sure what's gonna happen. So if Vamana's worse, maybe Bellona gets buffed. I'm not sure, but if, I could see Bellona rising up the ranks. Yeah, I think Bellona's solid. If you go like sort of like a similar Vamana build in Bellona, it'd be great. Phalanx really good in Bellona. Heartward Ammon's really good. Shogun's can be good for Heartward. Trin Size, Hastened, that kind of stuff. I would not go Golden Blade though on Bellona personally. I would just go Phalanx, Berserker Shield. Is the Masters Tournament going to be the last thing before the new season, or will it be the brand new meta? It'll be a brand new meta. So I think the new season is going to drop right before Masters. Next we have Cabrakan. He's gone up and down historically over the years, but I would put Cabrakan in D tier probably. I don't think he's like shit, but I think definitely leaves more to be desired. His full damage build isn't as good anymore, I don't think. And don't know, he doesn't really win lane. He's kind of weak in solo lane overall. I think he's okay in support. Yeah. And I just want to say the main thing about Smite, especially solo lane, the gods that are good are okay. Basically, items define the meta. So items define which gods are good or bad. That's kind of how it always is, and probably always how it's always going to be. If a certain item gets buffed really hard, then certain gods will be extremely good. For example, Soldier being nerfed, fuck Bastet. And they should Pirates grabbed Bastet by her fucking tail and threw her across the room, sadly, in game. You know, and no animals were harmed in the making of balancing of this game. So, Spanky, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's a tier list. Darmok. I'll do your summer quest after this tier list, Spanky, so it'll be like in like 30 minutes or so. Anyway, let's try. I'll try and be a bit more faster, but I'm just trying to give you guys the basic gist of this. And feel free to skip to the end of the video if you want to just see the entire tier list for yourself. And so we got, who's next? Camazotz. Camazotz got buffed a lot, actually. Even though his healing got nerfed along with every other, self healer. I think Cam is like okay. I'll put him in B tier. Like I think he's probably between B and D, honestly. But I'll put him in B tier for now. I don't think it matters too much like exactly where he is, but I think he could definitely I think his items right now aren't the best. I feel like bruiser assassins aren't that good right now because the bruiser items in the past lost power. So I'll put him there. Serb. I'll put Serb. I think Serb is actually pretty solid. I'll put him in A tier. His buffs actually made him really good. Maybe B tier. I don't know, A or B tier, honestly. Either one is good for him. I'll do A tier. Just because the gods that are really good that he counters are very prevalent in the meta. So like Hell, Afro, all types of healers. He counters him pretty hard because he heals a ton. So those buffs that made him pretty solid. Chaac is solid too. I'll put him in B tier, but I think Chaac is actually fine. Definitely solid. It kind of sucks they made his heal not scale anymore, so that's kind of rough. I think that was really nice for him. You can build trans, build some power on him. But his ult is always gonna be pretty solid. His ult and his rain dance. If you 1-3 the ground, if they're axe and you rain dance, it actually lowers a ton of attack speed, like a ton. So I think he definitely has. He's definitely solid. I wouldn't say he's like balanced. I'd say he could definitely use a little bit of help from high res. Chang'e, fucking hate Chang'e, but I'll put it on D tier. I mean, I don't know. It's always kind of hard to find a playstyle of Chang'e. You want to be a healer? Do you want to be backline diver? Do you want to be kind of a tank, frontliner, person who soaks damage? It's kind of hard. So I would say it's best to just play Chang'e as a full damage one-shot mage and use Blink on their backline. If you do that in ranked, you probably get some like quick MMR. But I mean, it's not a great like long-term thing, and it doesn't work every game. But it's definitely possible for you to go to things like Tahuti, maybe like Magus, Deso, Mirrodin, just like one-shot people. But I think she's kind of mid. Put Bog in here just because I love Bog. I'll put him in D tier. I think he has some usefulness just by having a global, and if you're good at hunters. But I mean, I wouldn't really pick him that much. Just play him if you like Bog, And I mean, as a general rule, you can kind of play anything you want in solo lane. I mean, rather, you can play anything you want in any role as long as you are good with that character and you perform well. So. But of course, I mean, you could play something like Zeus solo and your team might flame you, but if you like it, you like it, You're free to do whatever you want in life and be whoever you want to be. And don't let anybody tell you can't. Kleena, I think Lena has some potential actually, but I would put her F tier, but I think she has potential if you go full damage on her. She's just kind of a solid god in general. Yeah, I do Spanky a little bit. I do like a little bit of power on Chaac. I think it's like kind of mid. But I've been playing her and I've been going off with her, so I kind of like her. Cthulhu, I think Cthulhu is pretty solid. I'll put him 8 tier. I think Cthulhu is pretty solid overall. I think makes team fights really hard. He's not that easy to bully in lane. He loses some matchups pretty hard. Solid picks a D tier. Well, I shouldn't say solid. I just mean like, yeah, solid is the wrong word, but like Cthulhu is a solid pick. But like Kalina is a fun pick that you're like it's not as bad as Bastet. But like you can play her and like do okay if you're good at her. Only if you're good at her though. So I shouldn't say it's solid, but it's like, you know, she's not F tier is what I'm trying to say. Which you know, based on all her nerfs and all the item nerfs that she loved, she should be F tier. But she's still kicking. It was fuck no, yeah, basically. Yeah, it was a solid, good team fight. Not as good in ranked as he is in competitive. But this list is kind of just for a general solo lane, not necessarily specifically only ranked or only competitive. It's kind of just a mixture of both. Colin, I think he could also use some help, just like Ama and Gang. I think he's okay. I think he's fine. But I wouldn't really pick him. I wouldn't. I don't. He's all right. It's just I don't think he's that great. He's not balanced. I think he could definitely. He's a little bit underbalanced. I think he could definitely use slight buffs. Who else? Erlang. I think Erlang is shit. You see this right here? This is literally, they put Erlang on this webpage for fun. They're like, let's put Erlang shit on this webpage. So who's next? Fenrir, just I love Fenrir. Fenrir in D tier as well. His buffs definitely make him like better than he was before, but again, you know, he doesn't have items like Blackthorn. He doesn't have items like Stone Cutting Sword. But I think if you go something like, I don't know, maybe Tainted Steel or Axe, and you rush Jotun's Wrath, and you go Jotun's Wrath into like Bloodforge or Hydras or something, you go full damage, I think he can be solid. For most assassins, I'd say just going full damage is better than being kind of like bruiserish when your team play in the tournament, because Danzland, we are number one in the phase, first seed in our division, so we skipped this tournament because we auto qualify to Masters. Because this tournament is a seeding tournament for Masters. So the phase was a seeding phase for the seeding tournament, which is a seeding tournament for the Masters, the big tournament. So with Fenrir out of the way, we move on to Gilgamesh. Wait for it. Wait, dog shit. Gilgamesh is dog shit. That's all there is to it. Thank you for the sub, Mr.
Yo.
And then we got Guan Yu. Fucking broken. But they didn't nerf him recently, so maybe he might be S-. I'm not sure. In competitive, he's probably S, but I think in rank he's S- actually. So I think he's still decent though. But they're making it so he's getting closer to where he was originally with an additional healing nerf. So all he has now is basically just 1 second off allies cooldown, so it's just still really good. But you know, they're slowly fucking him. Hades goes into I'll say B. He was before around S minus, but then he was A. And I think he hovers around here in the between A and B. I just think Hades again doesn't have great early game damage options. I think I like going Warlocks, but he just doesn't hit as hard anymore as he used to. But he does win some matchups really hard, like for example, like gods who don't clear the wave fast or don't have early pressure. So, or even gods that do have good pressure, like let's say Ardio, for example, he's pretty good in Super Alma. He can win lane versus almost every god. So, besides a few. I'm not gonna add these guys. Hercules, fucking broken, fucking OP. He's actually fucking P. He's kind of been OP for so long. And the nerfing his heal, which I don't think is the right play, because I think what makes Herc OP is not his heal and his 3. I think it's mainly the combination of 30% moon speed, fucking 15 power from regrowth, and then you get 25% attack speed, you get fucking 120 prots from your 3. And you get, you know, the heal, all for a very low cooldown. It's kind of a lot. You get a lot of things. I feel like out of all of those things that you get from this 3, they should not, like, his heals are the worst part, and it's the most fun part and the most unique of him. But yet they nerf it. So I don't agree with that. So next we have Horus. Hello. Horus was OP. I would put him S before. Like before the recent nerfs, I would put all these shots S, but I think Horus is now S minus just because he's not as good in general as a god as he was before, but he still is really good at getting pressure because his early game is really good because he does a lot of damage. He has insanely good wave clear if you play it right. And if you get Golden Blade, he's very safe because you can dash to your bastions, and he has a very good late game because he's, you know, a support warrior. So he's hot. He's very aggressive early game. This combo will half health you, and he's really good late game because he has CC, heal, and a very good useful utility ultimate. Next we have Yorm. I'll do Yorm. I think Yorm is probably around F tier, probably. I don't think he's that bad. I just think the items for him aren't great like they used to be. But his buffs recently are pretty nice. I think if they keep buffing him, he's going to end up being fucking OP. But, you know, for now, I put him in F tier. But if he gets buffed, I could see him going to, like, B tier, honestly. So I'll put him in F tier for right now. Just because his items aren't great. And items usually determine if a god is good or not. King Arthur, we all miss the king until he's OP, then we don't miss him. But I don't think he's great. I don't think he's that bad either, though. So I'll put him in B tier next to Colin. I think he's solid. Like, he's like okay, but I think he definitely could use a little bit of you know, some better items, and a different meta. I think he's not bad though. Like, I would not pick him and be like, oh, we're gonna lose. I just think I would much rather pick these other warriors over him, for example. But I would gladly pick him over most of these warriors. Maybe I'll even put him in A tier, honestly. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he's fine. No, I'll leave him. I'll leave him in B tier. I think he's better than, like, fucking Baka. Or is he? He's better than Camazotz. Alright, well, that's better. We'll do that. Next we have, I'm not gonna do Lance. I don't think, I mean, if you want to know Lance, I would say Lance is like F tier. Move on. I think Mulan is pretty lame and boring in general. I don't think she's the worst though. I think they're buffing her a lot, so I'll put her in D tier. If she gets buffed more, I could see her definitely being better. But for now, I think she belongs here. We got Odin. Oh no, Nike. Nike, I think not great. I don't think she's terrible though. Maybe F tier. No, I'll do D tier. Yeah, I'll do D tier. I think Nike's fair D tier. I don't know. Just not. She doesn't have great items. Honestly. All sports buying Sunder makes her pretty easy to kill. Or I should say sports, but people in general, like soul laners especially in SPL, buy Sunder, so kind of hard to pick. But and I don't think she's like that great in like rank and stuff. Like you don't really pub stomp with Nike, so I'll put her in D tier. Odin I think is really solid, A tier, maybe S minus. I think he's like super good. He's really good at just into certain comps. He's not great early game though. You gotta be careful early game. He's not great early game. But late game, he can be really good. He can be game winning. So I'll do S minus. If you don't pick him into good comps, then he's not gonna be good at all. So next we have Osiris. I miss Osiris so bad. I really do miss him. I think he's decent, honestly. I'll put him in B tier. I think he's alright. I miss him though. He definitely needs some buffs. He got buffed recently. Like recently I would put him in D tier for sure, or like F tier, but they buffed him recently, so I think he's now okay. But I think he still just does no damage mid game, honestly. It's kind of sad. Ratatoskr, honestly, I think he's like kind of mid. I'll put him in like D tier, I think. I think he's like alright, but like I wouldn't really pick him. I'll put him in B tier. I'll put him in B tier. I wouldn't pick him. I'd pick him over any of these gods, but I wouldn't pick him over any of these gods though. But like it'd be like on par, maybe. Yeah, Ratek, okay. Maybe he's A tier. I don't know. Yeah, I think he could use a little bit of love, honestly, in his builds. His builds aren't that great, but they're not bad. Like if you can go like Glad Shield, Genji's Guard, Stone of Binding, stuff like that, it'll be okay. He's alright, but I think he's not like I would not pick him over Hades or. I mean, I'd pick him over like Baka probably or Ardio. Besides that, I don't know. Kind of in line with those gods. Robin, he's solid. I would probably put him maybe next to Rat, honestly. Yeah, probably next to Rat. The thing is, Robin though, if you just do no damage, if you go into like team fights and stuff, with like a full mitigation build, you do no damage. Even without a full mitigation build, you're still gonna do like very low damage. Shiva, fucking hate Shiva. I hate this character. I'm putting him in dog shit tier. Actually, hold on. I'm adding another row. Dog shit unless okay live. If you're okay live, the rank player, then you're gonna be dominating a Shiva. But otherwise, I think Shiva sucks. His ult, he's literally down in a whole ability, basically with his ult. Sobek, disgusting. But I mean, he's probably gonna be around here, maybe. Yeah, I'll put him around here. I wouldn't see myself picking him over any of these gods. I could pick him. I might probably pick some of these guys over Sobek, but that's it. This is the crowd he belongs in. This is definitely the lunch table he belongs in. So Wukong, I think, is actually pretty solid. I would put him A tier probably. Getting a lot of buffs. I think he's solid, honestly. He's fine. Yeah. I think maybe I put Arthur in A tier. I'll put King Arthur in A tier actually. That's what I decided. Yo, what's up, Patrick? My day's going pretty good. How's your day going? That's right, Malachi. I am. So next we have. I'm not really gonna put Set. Not gonna put Sasano. Thor. I've been playing a lot of Thor. Thor's been played a lot. I would put Thor honestly in B tier. I think he's actually kind of solid. Sorry. So I think Thor can be good, but I think you have to go full damage with trans and like ship it like a jungle build. His early game can be a bit weak. I think it's pretty good once you get to late game or like mid game. I think he has some value for sure. You can go tank too. I think going a little bit of tank is okay as well. But again, like assassin bruiser items aren't great anymore. So I think full damage is solid. I'll put him in A tier honestly. Tier, he got buffed pretty hard with his ult. I think he's solid. I'd probably put him in S minus. I don't think tier is actually even that good, honestly. It's but you saw it means stupid in French. That's pretty funny. It means stupid in English too. Um, I feel like tier honestly is not that good. Honestly, I feel like it's not that good. But like, put him here. Like I feel like this is criminal putting him here. About to put him here. I feel like he's more of like S plus. I put him. I would say he's A plus. Honestly, A plus would be like a good mark for him. Honestly. Um. Yeah, I think tier's okay. It's just he has he has the old problems of you rotate to mid and or you're in late game diving their mage or their hunter and you just get one shot. They beat your fearless and you get one shot. It's really hard to play tier late game. So I think his ult definitely helps with that, but you have to be pretty skilled at playing late game tier to actually like win a match easily. Next Vamana. Done. Fucking O fucking P. Most OP solo of all time. Not all time, but he's extremely OP. He's getting nerf at the nerf and still really good. Vamana can single-handedly win you an entire game by himself. He can get pentakills all the time. He can solo 3 carries by himself. And they could even have FG in full build and he could be missing an item. He could probably still solo them. It's crazy. Super propaganda? What? Dude, have you not seen me and Bastion literally 1v9 Vamana? Surtur, I'd say he's kind of mid. I'll put him in D tier. Honestly, he's kind of shits. His ult's not too great. He was really broken on release, but they kind of nerfed him a lot. Just not great. I don't know. He gets lane pressure though. He gets lane pressure. Just not great late game. Martin, I think I like him. I'll put him for fun. Honestly, I'll do Martin B tier. Honestly, I think he's actually kind of solid. And X Shell, I'm not sure, so I'm gonna leave her. But yeah, this is my Soul Lane tier list. We'll run through it really quick. Overall, I think Herc and Vamana are definitely the best. I think Guan is also really good, but I think Guan, his nerf makes him less good. In a competitive setting, I think Guan is definitely up here, but in like as a whole, I think Guan is like a little bit less worse. I still think Guan is really good. Horus obviously still really good too. Odin tier, these gods are all like really solid. These gods here are pretty much what you should be picking every single game. And if these gods are somehow all banned or you're not able to pick them, then you can trickle down to some of these gods. Those are all pretty solid, and these gods are like pretty niche. You have to kind of be good at them in order to like, you know, make them work pretty well. These gods down here are just not great, but they do have this like a slight place. And these gods are just shit. They're that bad. I mean, I don't think Surtur's that good, honestly. Where would Sasano place? Probably on D tier, honestly. It's hard for him to beat like all these type of gods, honestly. His items aren't that great. Kuzenbo, D tier as well. He just doesn't have great wave clear, but I think he's solid at diving the backline, as always. But I'd say around D tier. Can you please explain the Bellona? Yes, I think Bellona has really good potential to be something like Vamana. You build chin size on her, you build Hasting Katana, you go Phalanx, you go, you know, that kind of stuff. I think you can even skip Death Toll. You can go Sigil. You go, okay, let's say you go Sigil, and you go Phalanx, and then you go, like, let's say Midgardian Male, and then you go, Heartward of the Amulet, Stronghold of the Amulet, Heartward thing. Then you go Chin Size Hastened. And it's a really good build. I think you could solo carries. Focus this tier list. I'd like to see you make a better one. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you have no idea what you're talking about. I think with like, I think if Vamana gets nerfed, I think Bellona would you know, might be like the next best like WQ solo laner. About any warriors, you could, but I mean probably not. Why Herc over Guan? Cause I think they nerfed Guan's 3 pretty hard, like the extra stack, and they didn't really nerf Herc that hard. And Herc is just good at all stages of the game, and he wins most matchups. But I do think Herc could lose, or Herc could lose to Guan like past level 7. I mean, I don't know. I had Guan at an S, but I think with this nerf, I'll put him S minus. I haven't really played Guan too much, but I think he's still solid. Guan is still really good. Like he's like borderline S, but I think with that recent nerf, it kind of pushed him to S minus, I'd say. That it's that like B tier. He's like, I don't know. He's not that good, honestly. He kind of dies in lane. His build isn't that good anymore either. Like the Bruiser Bow's not as good. You can't really go like stuff like Shift or Shield anymore. Gladshield doesn't have any power on it, for example, that kind of stuff. Thing's a thing, right? Yeah, some people do it. I think it's pretty bad though. I think people only do it for fun kind of thing, but why I'm to make Jorm a higher tier. I think if there were better bruiser items for like magical, so like the helmets were really good on him. I think Estaf and Gem of Iso are really good on Yorm, and I think Tablet was really good, but Tablet got nerfed. So like if Tablet was better, he'd be really good. But Tablet sadly got fucked. And if there was like better bruiser items, he'd be good. I think you could go stuff like Pythags. It is you could go like a tainted Pythags, maybe like breastplate, Heartward probably, and then stuff like I don't know, E-Staff, Gem of Iso, Stone of Binding, those kind of items. You'll be doing pretty well, I'd say. Maybe you don't go Pythags, you just go like straight into breastplate. I don't know. But I do know E-Staff, Gem of Iso, Stone of Binding are all really good on him. Tablet as well, Glad Shield is solid. But it's hard to fit all those items in one build. I think Yorm's solid. I'll put Yorm in D2 actually. Just Gilg and Chiva below Erlang. They fucking suck. They're just pretty bad. In general, they got nerfed into the ground. And Erlang got buffed. And Erlang, you just go like Chin Size and Phalanx. Like Phalanx is a really OP item, but it's probably not going to be great in Shiva. It's probably okay on Gilg, but Gilg can clear a wave. At least like Shiva can. Maybe I'm too hard on Gilg, but I don't know. I think they're both worse than Erlang. Like I'd much rather play Erlang than Gilg or Shiva, like in a comp game or in a rank game. But Next is okay, I think, yeah. Would you ever put power in Cthulhu? Serb? Yeah, I usually go Pythags on Cthulhu like every game. And Serb, I do it sometimes. Not having mana on those characters, it feels pretty bad though. So you could go like a tier 1 earring or something. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like on this Twitter post or on the YouTube video, whichever you're watching on. And yeah, if you have any feedback or any questions or any concerns, please leave them down below in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys.